In this video, I'm going to show you how you can pass on your broker fee and or transaction coordinator fee to your client so that you can truly pocket 100% commission. That means the entire commission goes right to you and you don't have to split it with a broker or pay the TC out of your pocket. And I'm going to show you how to do it on 3 different forms, 3 different ways to do it. And we'll start with the purchase agreement. Now we're looking at the newest version of the RPA. I'm going to scroll down and show you this section where you're going to enter in the verbiage. Now keep in mind, if you get an invoice from an attorney or a CPA, you're going to see not just the service rendered, you're also going to be billed for postage and copies and all these other peripheral fees. Why? Because those professionals pass on their hard fees. They're billing you for their work, and they're in their mind, they're not saying, "Oh, I'm going to just eat the cost out of my own income, my own revenue." They're saying, "No, this was a cost I incurred when I filed this for you. So you pay the filing fee separate. You file with the county, you file a lawsuit, you're paying the filing fee separate." This is similar to that in the sense that you're passing on your hard fee. Now, by the way, we had an office in Florida for years, and particularly in Miami-Dade and Broward counties, all the agents on the team down there, albeit it was a small team, it was less than 10 agents, but every agent did this. It was commonplace. Now here in California, I rarely see it, or only very seasoned agents do this. Now here we are, and we're on page 3 of 16 of the RPA. Now there are 2 sections where you can do it, and you don't have to do both of these. I've just given you 2 different examples. Okay, here, let's take a look at Q16. Now this section, the people that do car forms, they blew it big time. They really screwed this section up. But working with the limited tools that we have on Q16, you could type in something to the effect of a numerical value and then like $500 and then broker compliance, and it has fees already in here. And you check the box of who's going to pay it. Or if you're a dual agent, you could put both. But the point is that you're putting in an additional fee. These are auxiliary empty lines that you can add anything. So write in the cost. Now, keep in mind, this is what we're doing. We're charging your client, and then in escrow, they're going to cut a portion or whatever you charge here to the broker. Escrow is going to cut a check. So if you have this $500 broker compliance, escrow is going to cut a check to your broker, and you tell your broker, "Look, I charged an extra $500 separately. Please deduct that from how much I owe you." And you can change this number or put your TC fee in there. Now let me show you down here. Now this is what I would probably do, just because this section is not properly done. This section's a mess right here. The old RPA was much better for this. Somehow they totally dropped the ball on here. So I would recommend going down to other terms. Now I've written the same thing 3 times. You only have to do one of these. I'm just giving you multiple examples. Buyer shall pay a transaction coordinator fee of $500, or buyer shall pay a $500 broker risk management fee, or buyer shall pay a $500 broker processing fee. Now this flat fee can be whatever you want. And if it's less than what you owe your broker, well, at least you're discounting what you have to pay your brokerage. If your broker is only charging you $500, like we do in some cases, in some transactions, that'll cover the entire broker fee. So the entire commission goes back to you because you've already paid the broker fee. Now, the reason we have it worded different ways here is because some clients may take issue depending on the verbiage. So the idea is making the fee more palatable: a broker processing fee, a risk management fee, a compliance fee, a document storage fee, whatever you think makes sense. Guess what? On every single escrow closing statement, you're going to see the same thing. I look at all the escrow closing statements. I used to own an escrow company, and I know that they have doc prep. Doc prep is the same thing. It's a totally arbitrary term. Doc prep means nothing. It goes right to the escrow agent commission fee. It also they'll say things like document storage, 1099 compliance. It doesn't matter. It's all the same thing. It's escrow companies just doing a different line item so they can add on more fees or more commission to the escrow agent, rather than just saying, "Here's our escrow fee." So a buyer or seller will look at a closing statement and they'll see doc prep and they'll think that's different than the the escrow fee. Now, I'm not in any way advocating being deceptive at all. I'm totally against that. But I think that what I see as a broker that processes hundreds of transactions a year, I think that clients shake down agents to an extreme degree. And I think that agents should charge at least a portion or at least a transaction coordinator fee to pass on those costs identical to how a CPA or an attorney does it. Now, I'll show you how we're going to do it if we're the listing agent, and I'll show you another way. So keep in mind, this is where you do it if you're writing the offer, if you're the buyer's agent. Now, what if you're the seller's agent? We'll jump over here. Here we're looking at the residential listing agreement. Now, there are two different ways to do it on this. At my company, we charge 1/10 of 1%. That's the commission that's the fee that agents pay the brokerage. So if an agent's only making 2.5%, which is fairly common, right? You get 2.5% when you sell a property. That's the most typical commission arrangement right now. Well, the agent's pocketing 2.4%. And as a brokerage, we're just charging the 1/10 of 1%. So our agents that are charged 1/10 of 1%, or if you're charged 1% of the sales price, you can just add it on here. So you can literally just add 5.01 instead of the 5 even. That will cover your brokerage fee. If you're only charging 4%, 4.01. If you're charging 6%, same idea. Remember, you're putting the gross commission. The common mistake I see as a broker, people put only the listing side. That's incorrect. You do the listing plus the selling side. That's the gross commission total. So if you do a flat fee per transaction with your brokerage, then just charge it here. And you can put the flat fee. Do you pay your brokerage $800 per transaction, right? $800 broker processing fee or something to that effect. And then you advise escrow, send escrow a copy of this. Escrow will then bill the client through escrow, cut a check to your broker. You tell your broker, hi, I charge a separate amount to be applied toward the amount I owe the brokerage at closing, and that offsets how much commission. So you can, at the very least, get a discount on what you pay your brokerage or entirely eliminate your brokerage fee. Or maybe you just want to have a transaction coordinator paid for. Fine. The point is it's saving you money so that you as an agent aren't dipping into your pocket to cover your hard costs. Again, like other professionals, they pass on hard costs. CPA, attorney, ethically, do not deceive or in any way be deceptive in terms of what you're charging. And if your client asks, say, this is what I get charged and this is what we're passing on. I mean, you just be completely confident in your answer. There's no reason why you should be ashamed that you are otherwise paying out of your own pocket your hard fees. I mean, you're already paying for membership dues, MLS access, gas, all the resources that go into selling a property, signs, advertising, photography. I mean, come on, people. All right, finally, we have, this is an invoice, all right? This is just a standard letterhead invoice that we have in the office. Now, keep in mind, you can use any Microsoft Word document. Now, why do I have an invoice here? The reason is that sometimes I hear from agents, because let's be realistic, it's not every time that you're going to charge 5 or 6%. Sometimes you have to be accommodating to get the deal, and you're only charging 1% to each side. There's all sorts of arrangements out there. And what happens is I'll get calls as a broker from an agent, and they'll say, hey, I'm only making this much because this happened, and it's a repeat client, and there's always a story. But the bottom line is that agent is charging a discounted commission. And so the agent's thinking, oh gosh, out of the measly 1% I'm pocketing, I have to pay for the photographer, and I have to pay my brokerage fee, and I have to pay for the signs that got ripped out when I had the home for sale. So they call me up and they're saying, hey, can you cut me a deal on the broker fee? And I say, why don't you pass the fee on to your client? Well, a lot of times the agent's like, well, it's too late for the purchase agreement. It's too late for the listing agreement. And I say, great. Remember how you had the 5% listing and somehow your client negotiated you to take less? We'll go back to them and say, look, I'm happy to accommodate if you are, but you have to pay my compliance fees, my risk management fee, my broker processing fee, and you pass it on to the client. And many times your client is not going to take issue with this, especially if you preface it with the fact that you're cutting them a deal. You are giving them a great deal. You are discounting the commission. Is it so hard for them to pay through escrow your hard fee? Pass those fees through, and call it what you want: broker processing, broker compliance, risk management, transaction coordinator. But the point is that you go in the middle of escrow, you have this invoice created, party billed, you put the party in, the amount you're charging. We're going to charge $500. We're charging Bob the buyer, who made me chip in and pay for and rebate a bunch of my commission because he ran out of money, and it turned out that there are more closing costs than I imagined, and I want the deal done because I've been working with Bob forever and he's been driving me crazy. And so I'm contributing a portion of my commission, but guess what? Bob is going to pay my broker compliance fee, and I'm going to invoice him for $500 or $1,500 or whatever it is. I'm going to have Bob sign it, and I'm going to send this to escrow. And escrow is going to pay my broker, and I'm going to call my broker or email, and I'm going to tell him or her that, hey, we are charging Bob $1,500 to cover the brokerage fee so that I can keep the full commission that was whittled down to whatever it was. So, in summary, you have this invoice, which can be done during escrow, and you can preface it with a conversation of why you need to pass that fee on, especially if you're cutting your client some slack on the commission. The listing agreement, when to charge it up front, how to do it, two different ways. You can either add it here, or you can write in a line item. Now, keep in mind, you can put 5% here or some definitive number, a fixed number, 5%, and then you can add something here because the word and's right there. So it combines. It's this plus this. And then, of course, on the residential purchase agreement, I showed you two different places and different ways to word the fee. And if you want more ideas, go look at a closing statement. Go look at what the settlement charges from title and escrow. And you can see that they charge additional fees. And I get it. Escrow companies have a ton of overhead. I had one for years. You have a ton of overhead. The amount of compliance, regulatory obligations you have in escrow are extreme. They should pass on fees just the way they're doing. They just shouldn't gouge. That's unethical. If you have any questions, please leave a comment. Thank you for watching.